All right, so here's the truth. So retargeting with discounting, or let's take a step back, right? We want to start with retargeting. We're just going to go with discounting in general. Discounting for marketers and entrepreneurs is by far one of the most intoxicating and addictive things in business. Flat out, I think it is something that people start doing and they can't stop doing it, which that's the definition of addiction, right? It's like you start doing it, you need to do it more to get the same results. Like, to me, retargeting is about as close to an addiction as it gets. And it has serious side effects, right? And if you look at like what addiction is, it's, hey, I'm doing this activity and I need to continue doing it to get the same feeling or the same results. And each time I do it, I get less of that feeling, less of those results. So I need to do more of it, right? And so I started realizing like that's really what discounting is, if you look at it, right? So discounting can be very, very effective at driving short-term sales, right? So, hey, if I'm selling a product and it's $1,000 product and I've been marketing it all over the place on Facebook and Google and YouTube and it's everywhere, right? And people have seen it for a bunch of times and all of a sudden they see an ad, hey, for the next week, it's 50% off. That's going to drive sales because there's people there who are like, this is interesting, but it's too expensive. You haven't properly demonstrated the price to value ratio, right? So they see the price outweighing the value. And because of that, they're not willing to pay the price. When you discount it, all of a sudden the price to value equation balances out. And now it's a worthwhile investment, right? So the interesting thing though with discounts, and this is not me trying to be mean or be cruel or be negative to people that do discounting or trying to call anybody out. But the reason I'm doing this too is like I did this. So these are mistakes that I personally made. We made with Unicorn. We've made multiple times up until about a year and a half ago when we kind of really stopped doing it. So everything I'm talking about right now, it's from personal experience. It's from the mistakes that I've actually made personally. And so I'll start with my example, right? And then we'll dive into the reasons why retargeting with discounting or just leading with discounting is so dangerous and what you can do instead of it. So when I first came out with my course, what's up, Steve? What's up, Ashley? What's up, Matt? How's it going, everybody? See, you got Ryan, Justin, Cindy, Steven. Got a lot of great people on here, a lot of smart people. When I first started my course, my very first course, which is almost 2 years old now, came out with it, and it was priced at $9.97. It was my first course, no experience. I'd marketed other people's courses, Pat Flynn's and Kevin Harrington's and other people like that, but never my own stuff. And so started marketing it, right? And started running Facebook ads, started driving, cold traffic to a sales page, and made a lot of mistakes early on, which is how I marketed it because I was still learning around info product marketing. And then I started doing something. I started retargeting with a 50% off discount code. So all of a sudden, I started hitting people that have, engaged with my ad. They clicked, they went to the landing page, they started the checkout process, didn't buy. So I started with initiate checkouts. They then got a 50% off code. So $4.97 pretty much was the deal they got. And something crazy happened. I started getting a lot of sales, right? So all of a sudden, more people were buying my course, and that was a great thing at the time. I was like, this is awesome. Hey, Brian, hi, Steven, how's it going? So this was exciting. Oh, I found this game-changing strategy, right? All I got to do is set the price up here and then discount it down here and people buy it. It's that easy, right? And so it started selling and it started doing well. And all of a sudden I'd done a few $100,000 that way, right? A lot of the sales all of a sudden were at the $4.97 price point though. And this is where things started to go bad. So then what happened is that was kind of late summer. So throughout the fall, did really, really well. And now we're approaching a time of year where everyone's doing discounts. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the holiday season, which is, and we'll get to this at some point in the video, the only time of the year that I think it's okay to do discounting. I think there are times of the year where it's okay. That's one of them because the playing field changes. All consumers, regardless of their quality, are looking for deals. So all of a sudden now I have, we're going to the holiday season and we need to do deals, right? But guess what? $4.97 is not a deal because everybody's seen $4.97. That's what we've been doing just Main Street, like around, marketing at the course all year round. That's not a special deal. Consumers expect big deals, big savings on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? So all of a sudden now we knocked the price down 75%, 80%, whatever it was. I forget what it ended up being. But it ended up being a really crazy, stupid price. And guess what? We made a lot of money that weekend. We did tens of thousands of dollars in profit from Friday to Monday, selling our courses and our info products, right? And everything seemed great, right? It's pretty awesome all of a sudden, right? It's like, hey, I'm getting more people buying, I'm making more money. This is awesome. This is great. Well, this is when shit gets bad. So it's now January. All the deals are done. Nobody else is doing discounts anymore. Well, actually, the big brands that, the real brands that have, true quality products that know how to market aren't discounting anymore. They're not doing the deals anymore. And so now it's time to continue selling the course to $9.97. Guess what happens? Sales slow down. It gets harder and harder to sell it because we've done two things. So one thing is a bigger picture issue, and the other is a platform technical issue. So the bigger picture issue is that we have readjusted the kind of baseline price for the product, right? We've changed the perceived value of the product because we have kept the price low, and we've done so many discounts for so long, and so many people have seen those prices that we have now basically moved the bar lower for that price to value equation for consumers. So even though the value has stayed the same, it is perceived as being less valuable because we've priced it as being less valuable. And so that's problem number one. Now, problem number two is that the way that Facebook and a lot of the advertising platforms work from an algorithm standpoint is you are feeding it data. So you are sending buyers in, visitors in, leads in, different events are categorized and indexed into this machine, which is Facebook. And Facebook is learning. You're basically teaching Facebook's machine learning algorithm, this is who our buyers are. And so when you run ads that are optimized for purchases, Facebook is going to look at your past purchases and it's going to look for people like those people. Okay. So what happens when you have, 5,000 buyers, but 3,000 of them are discount buyers? That's the majority of what Facebook's going to use as data and look for. So now you have your new impression. So the new people that are seeing your ads look more like the discount shoppers and the deal seekers than your ideal buyer. And that sends more of those people into your ecosystem, which sends more data into the algorithm, which makes Facebook look for more people like that. And it creates this really terrible snowball from a technical perspective, right? So those are the two. There's like a macro and like a micro issue that happens with discounting, with sending lots of deal shoppers and discounters into your ecosystem to buy your product. It creates this really slippery slope and this kind of terrible snowball effect that destroys businesses. And so the challenging balance is, okay, realizing when there are appropriate times of the year to do deals, but the rest of the year, keeping your business, your brand at the level that you want it to be at. So if you are Apple or you are Hermes or you're AP or you're any of these brands, you don't do 75% off discounts. You don't do, half off discounts when somebody walks into the AP store or Hublot and walks to the watch store and like doesn't buy their $80,000 watch. They're not sending them a message the next day. Hey, you know what? We like you. We want you to be a customer. We want you to be a customer so bad, we're going to give you half off. You come back. So we're going to take $40,000 off the price of the watch. They don't do that because what does that signal? Well, now you have people that can't afford an AP watch or an Hermes bag or a Louis Vuitton bag or whatever it might be. People that genuinely can't afford it wearing it or as customers. And so the people that spent full price now see these people down here walking around with an $80,000 watch that they paid $20,000 for. And that's a bad example because people that can spend $20,000 for a watch are still really well off. But let's say it's, a Rolex, okay? So somebody it's $15,000 Rolex, $10,000, $20,000 Rolex, and somebody got a Rolex for $1,000, $2,000. If all of a sudden you just start seeing tons of people with Rolexes, you see, a person driving a, 1996 Jeep with a Rolex at the valet, you lose the appeal and the perceived luxury of Rolex. And now if I'm a, high end, high net worth individual that likes expensive watches, I'm not going to spend $20,000 on a Rolex if I know that they're giving out Rolexes for $1,000 to people that just try to buy it but don't buy it the first go around, right? It destroys brands, and that's what happened for quite a while to brands like Coach and Michael Kors. And there's a lot of those. Previously, they were luxury brands. They all of a sudden wanted to boost their sales and their customer base. So they went into department stores and thrift. They went into kind of those middle market retailers. They dropped their prices, and all of a sudden you had a lot more women and girls with Coach and Michael Kors bags and stuff, and they weren't the same caliber of customer. Now, this has nothing to do with the caliber of people. I'm just talking purely socioeconomic, right? You just have people that are much richer and people that aren't as rich, and all of a sudden both these classes of people had the exact same product, and these people spent a lot for theirs, these people didn't. And so then you have this really terrible slope where this time period where Michael Kors and Coach and these brands had to work really, really hard to try to move back up. It's really easy to move down. It's very hard to move up. So it's easier than anything in the world to discount a product, to have a premium product and slash the price and sell a lot. That's easy. It's nearly impossible to reverse it, right? So once you've done that, there's permanent damage. And to then go from being a discounter or a low price option to a premium option, it's very hard because you have all this history behind it of people that are different type of customer that are now part of the ecosystem. So that's the danger of discounting, is really creating a permanent hole in your business, doing permanent damage, irreparable damage to your brand, to your business that can never be recovered. And what also, this is the big thing too. And I actually have I don't know how I can do it. Facebook asked me to do this little poll thing while I was waiting to make it interactive, and there's no option to actually let me see if I can push this up. Okay, I can. That's cool. So let me put out a poll. After voting polls continue after live video. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm curious, if everyone that's watching this right now, is discounting your first retargeting strategy. So when you hit up somebody with a retargeting ad after they didn't buy, they abandoned their cart, is the first thing you're doing discounting? And I want people to be honest with this question, because most people are doing this. Most people should be saying yes, because most ads I see after abandoning checkout go to the discount. So I would be surprised if I saw more no's than yeses. Let's put it that way, okay? And that's okay. We all make mistakes and we all start somewhere like that. The challenge though is that if you're using retargeting discounts as a crutch to convert people, what you're signaling to most customers, at least the right customer that you want, is that you're not confident in the value of your product, right? If that's your go-to, after somebody hit them with an ad, they go to your sales page and don't buy. If your go-to is discount, essentially what you're signaling to the market is, listen, I got nothing left. I don't know what else to say about it. I don't know why you should have it. I can't sell the value. I don't believe enough in my product or the value of my product to justify the price. I set the price at X because I believe that's the right price for my product, right? If you're discounting right out of the gate, you're essentially just saying, well, I can make through that number, but I don't really believe that my product's worth that price, so I'm going to give it to you for a different price. No, you should support your price. Your pricing decision, you did research, you've done tests, you've probably sold a lot of products at that price. You need to be confident in your product and the value that it brings to support that price. And so you should always be leading with the value proposition. How can I further establish the value of my product and justifying the price, right? Not decreasing the price to make up for the lack of value, but justifying the value to make up for the price you charge. And the best brands, the best marketers in the world are the best because they're able to truly sell the value of their product or service without needing to lay on a crutch or use a crutch to help them convert somebody, right? And that's why you look at companies like, Apple, and there's numerous companies, massive companies. There's Lilly Pulitzer. There's they don't discount during the year. So Larissa loves Lilly Pulitzer, and Lilly Pulitzer, they do one sale a year. That's it. Entire year, 365 days, 52 weeks, they do one sale every year. That's it. Rest of the year, you're dropping $400 on a dress. That's what you're doing, right? And if you can't afford $400 a dress, sorry, maybe you'll wait that one time a year we do a sale, and by then it might be older stuff. But if you want to, we have premium. We use a premium, materials. We have the best designs, the best fashion. We have the high-end customers, and because of that, our dresses are worth $400, whatever it is, and they're not gonna just discount because you didn't think that dress is worth $400. And the crazy thing is that by continuing to believe in your product's price and pushing the premium option, you're going to get, maybe slower, but you'll get more customers, and each of those customers further sells the value. They further illustrate the value, and they're going to help support each additional sale. What I mean by that is if you look around and you look at Apple with iPhones, like when the iPhone first came out, when you saw somebody with an iPhone, especially a new one, it said it was a statement, right? That person has an iPhone. That's a luxury item. You see somebody with a Burberry scarf. You see somebody with a Rolex or an AP or Hublot watch. Like, those make statements, right? And because of that, if you are an individual, a consumer who now has made enough money that you can afford these things, you spend that amount of money, you buy the premium product because it's a premium product, right? That's part of the reason why we spend a certain amount of money on things that shouldn't be spent on, right? There's like, sure, AP and Hublot and Jaeger and these like crazy brands, they deserve to be, they're premium products. They're made in limited quantities. They're made by hand. They have incredible craftsmanship, right? That justifies a high price. But, spending $100,000 on a watch, like, people don't spend $100,000 on a watch because they truly think that there's $100,000 worth of parts in there, right? That's not why they're buying it. They're buying it because it's $100,000, right? It's the same thing with a luxury car. Like, the reason why people go and they buy, a Lamborghini, or they buy a Ferrari, or they buy a Rolls-Royce Wraith, or they buy any of these cars is, sure, they believe in the craftsmanship of the car, and it has big engines, and it's got more expensive parts, and it's made in limited quantities. But they're really buying it because they know when I go to the valet in my $100,000, $200,000, $400,000 car, everybody's going to see me, and they're going to know that guy has a $400,000 car, right? So that's real. I think that's a huge part of it, is if you believe in your value and that the price you're charging is 100% a great deal given the value, and you support that and you back that up and you go all in on that and you don't cave to discounts, you build that foundation, and the public, the other people that aren't consumers yet, will see that, right? And that's a huge part of why premium brands are premium brands, because they haven't caved to discounting. They've stuck to their price because of the value, and that has built a lot of perceived value. So that's just just something that I was thinking a lot about, and I think it's really important for everybody here to truly start like believing in their products and not using discounts as a crutch. Because it is a crutch for a lot of people. For a lot of businesses and marketers, I see them discounting products that they shouldn't be discounting. And I've seen it personally like hurt my businesses and what I've done. And I can see what happens. I can see the trend, and I don't want that to happen to other people's businesses, right? I think it's really important in the info product space, in the coaching space, the consulting space, where you're the product. That's even more important, because as soon as you start diluting your time and your value, like that's really hard to rebuild that. As soon as you start like just discounting your time, that's where things get really, really bad really fast. So you need to believe in that price and keep increasing that price, and that's why they're the top marketers in the world, the top speakers in the world can charge $250,000 for a speaking event, because that's what they charge. Like, people are willing to spend $250,000 on Tony Robbins to come to an event, or $500,000 to come to an event because of Tony Robbins, and because people know like they got Tony Robbins to speak here. He's crazy expensive. Like, that in itself is value. It's it's really interesting when you start diving into it. You look at things like diamonds, right? Like you can go all day on this. You know, diamonds are not rare. Like it's crazy. Like diamonds in their natural state, it's not a rare like rare precious metal or gem or anything. It's like it was marketed. The rarity was manufactured by De Beers a long time ago, right? And they control the supply, and they basically control the entire market. And for generations, they've made this big marketing campaign to say that you show your love with a diamond, and that's become the de facto statement piece for engagements and weddings, right? So it's, hey, the bigger diamond you get, the more you love somebody, right? They've equated the amount you spend on a diamond to how much you love somebody, and that's powerful. And because of that, diamonds have a very high perceived value. People are willing to pay absurd amounts of money for engagement rings and wedding rings and diamonds because people see big diamonds and like, that's really expensive. And it's expensive because people think it's expensive. It's just crazy. It's like the psychology of it is really crazy. It's the same thing as you look back at the tulip mania back in 1700s, 1600s, the kind of Dutch tulip crisis, where people started just believing that tulips were a valuable investment, and people started buying into it. More people believed in it. More people put money into tulips. More people wanted to buy tulips, wanted to sell tulips. That raises the price, and then it kept feeding on itself. And all of a sudden, it was like thousands of dollars to buy a single tulip bulb, and obviously it crashed. But it's price is an interesting thing, right? It's if you can demonstrate that something is valuable, you can set the price for it. You can charge what you want. And so I believe more in going that route, where like you need to make it clear to people why your product is worth so much, what makes it so valuable, and why this is still a crazy price from the get, whatever the product is. Not saying, hey, you know what, you're right, this product isn't actually worth what it's worth. And that's where like building your own brand becomes so important. And I don't want to get down this rabbit hole, and there's some questions I'll answer, but like this is where it gets tricky when you're a drop shipper, when you're doing print on demand, when you're doing things where you're not building like a true brand and you're really just selling commodities or other products. That becomes very, very difficult to play in the way the market's going, because discounting might be your only tool, because you don't really control the quality of the product, and maybe the quality of the product's crap. So you really can't sell the value. So the only thing you can do is push the price. You don't have the ability to build a brand that has high perceived value, that becomes viewed as like, this is a luxury brand, this is a premium brand that can charge a premium price. And so that's why I think it's going to be harder than ever in 2019 and beyond to be, kind of in the drop shipping world, in the print on demand world, where you're really not building a brand that has high quality products, and one of your only tools is discounting, and that becomes a very slippery slope for a lot of marketers and entrepreneurs. It was hard to ever reverse that track, like we said earlier. So again, I think just to kind of go back to it, discounting Black Friday, Cyber Monday is fine. My recommendation would be, when you upload those custom audiences in the Facebook or other channels you're using, just remove the discount buyers, right? So you're only uploading the full pay, like you're basically customers who have paid full price. So remove all your discounters, all your deal shoppers, anybody that didn't pay full price for your product, remove them, upload a clean list of buyers into Facebook, and create lookalikes on top of those audiences. Go even a step further and create lookalikes on your repeat buyers, the buyers who spent more than the average order value. Then you're getting a higher quality lookalikes that are looking more like your best and ideal customers, and less like the deal shoppers and discount shoppers who you really don't want as your primary customer. So that's just a little tip for any of your paid traffic. Just remove those individuals. You can do that dynamically, or you can do that just by doing manual CSV downloads and uploads. Awesome. So let me know. I'm going to answer some questions over here, but let me know if you have any questions. I'm kind of recording two videos at once. One's for YouTube that's being recorded, and the other one's going live right now on Facebook. So I'm going to turn off the YouTube video for my computer system just totally loses it, and answer some questions on Facebook now.